All right, we're recording.
Yes, sir.
Welcome everyone to the Rink Rat Report podcast. Recording this one September 26th, very late at night. We're through two preseason games so far. As always, joined by Jason.
How's it going, crew? Good to be back. What's going on? What's our fans' names? The Rats?
I guess so. The Rat
The r-
Nest.
the Rat Nest? What's going on,
Yeah.
Rat Nest? Excited to be back. Excited hockey's back. I mean,
Yeah.
I
We're
haven't watched I got to be transparent before we get into it. Wasn't able to watch any of the games yet. I'm planning on watching the game Wednesday night, right?
wow.
But thankfully I follow you on Twitter and I'm
Mhm.
able to keep up with the games as we like live because of your Twitter account, because of the
Oh,
Rink
there
Rat
we go.
Report Twitter account. So if you're not following, go follow right now. Some of us, like, if you're busy and you can't watch every game, it's easily the best follow you can make. So shameless plug.
Yes. Thank you. Um, yeah, I missed it live last game. I watched last game today though, so I've watched both games and I know I have a good thumb on the pulse of everything that's going on with the Leafs so far through this preseason. So we're gonna get into a little bit about what happened in the games, not too much because who really cares? It's preseason. So quick recap of those, the standouts and what kind of surprised me, what caught my eye through those first two games, and then also on top of that, we have a little bit of cap compliancy to talk about, I suppose you could call, or there's been a player that hasn't been playing, we'll say, and it's you know, is it because of the cap? Is it because he's actually injured? We'll get into that. But first, we want to give a big shout out to our friends over at Manscaped. Smooth sack summer is over. I don't know what they're calling the fall time, but you still want to be keeping your friends downstairs nice and smooth, nice and groomed, nice and fresh. So why not head over to manscaped.com for 20% off and free shipping with the promo code RINKRAT. That is RINKRAT at manscaped.com for 20% off and free shipping. Keep keep your boys downstairs fresh this fall.
So I just got a report in from the guys over at Manscaped. It's fresh phallic fall.
Oh, unreal. They always amaze me with these ad reads. But
It's
yeah,
great stuff.
20% off, free shipping, manscaped.com, promo code RINKRAT. Shall we get into it?
Let's get right into it. Lead us through this recap of each game because I'm useless for this part. So go ahead.
So, pretty much what happened, first game was in Ottawa. It was a loss, 3-2 loss. That was kind of the B team that was playing there. Well, B team plus Nylander, Domi, Riley, Liljegren, and then a lot of other non-regular guys. Last night was in Toronto. They played more of the A squad, but they still lost 4-3 in overtime. Little bit of a comeback there. They were down 3-1 at one point, and then had a last second goal from Mitch Marner. The goalies that started in Ottawa in the first game, it was Petrozelli to start. Hildeby came in at the beginning of the third period. Last night, Joseph Wool started. Martin Jones came in halfway through. Jones only gave up the one overtime goal. Wool gave up 3 goals. Petrozelli gave up 3 goals, and Hildeby didn't have to do too much back there. Gonna be honest, I have no idea. Like I didn't get any evaluation on him in that game because I think he stopped 4 shots, maybe if that. Made one nice save. I will say that. So, what were some things to draw from these games? Is mainly it. Do I care that they lost? Not really. I mean, they were both very close games. Saw some good from some players. Saw some not so good from some players. I'm selfishly going to get into the goalie talk. Keith Petrozelli, this is the so he played I think one preseason game last year. Didn't go very well at all. He just got rinsed in the third period on a couple shots through traffic. He looked better this year, I will say. He made a lot more saves. He made some good saves, I will say. Like overall, I thought he played okay. Him as a goalie, like I look at the depth chart now, they have Samsonov for this year. They have Wool for this year, and further and beyond, we'll call it. They have Martin Jones. They have Dennis Hildeby. So Martin Jones and Hildeby should be in the minors. Maybe Martin Jones gets claimed. Okay. And then I believe they have Vladislav Peksa too. And then on AHL contracts, they have Luke Kavalin, and they have one more guy down there. I can't remember his name. He won a Hobie Baker Award. Can't remember his name. And it's not important, though. With Petrozelli, though, he's on an NHL contract. I don't see him as an NHL goaltender. He's massive, but I still think he struggles to read plays at an NHL level. Like he'll stop the first one, but he's not setting himself up well for where the puck's going to end up. There was more than a few times where he overslid or overplayed a puck. On the first goal, or especially through screens, he's not very good through screens at all. All 3 goals were through screens. The first goal, the pass came through a screen. It was a fake shot pass through a screen, and he just dropped and kind of slid, made the save, but then the rebound just sat there, and it was a wide open. It was a very easy chance. Like it was a weak tip on net, and he made it way more difficult than he had to. There was a couple other plays. They didn't result in goals, but he just way overplayed it, and it resulted in a good chance when it didn't need to at all. I also don't think his skating is at an NHL level quite yet. So he's a guy I could see either loaned to another team. And I mean, the Leafs are at 49 contracts. I could see him moved for future considerations to a team that's looking for a goaltender. If not now, maybe in a month, 2 months kind of thing. Right. So that's where I'm at with Keith Petrozelli.
That's a good
Still
thing.
6'6" though.
Yeah, that's a good thing to hear though, just because like you always want to have contract slots remaining in case, like, for example, I don't know, someone who, I don't know, whoever looks good that is not signed to your current team right now, who you have the rights to. It's always nice to have the flexibility to be able to bring in a guy like that. But quickly sticking with these past 2 games, it's still the preseason, so let's not overreact here. Without like, there's a couple standouts we're going to talk about more in depth. That's going to be Easton Cowan. We're going to talk a little bit about John Klingberg, Matthew Knies, Nick Rowe. But other standouts quickly that you noticed from those last 2 games. Anyone
non-regular guys, or like
kind of anyone? Bertuzzi, Nylander at center. Like, what are your thoughts? I mean, okay. I feel like there's not a lot to take away from Nylander.
There's a huge conversation still with Nylander at center. I think I had a couple conversations with some people about it, and
yeah,
I'm flip-flopping back and forth. Will it work? Will it not work? There were some really good points made. I really like the conversation simply because it's not a hard and fast, yes, it will work, no, it won't work. There's so many points to support both sides, and it's going to be just like a wait and see and like a test. Will it actually work? We won't fully know until we see it live in action for 5 to 10 games, right?
Yeah.
So I thought it was quite interesting. He produced, I want to say 7 chances at least in that game. He didn't have a point, but he was getting breakaway chances. He was setting up his teammates. He was using the entire ice. Jason, like because he's playing in the middle, now he has more ice to work with that works with his speed, especially in the offensive zone. He was tremendous, I thought. Him and Domi showed some pretty decent chemistry, I would say, as well. I would say Alex Steves was on that line too. I thought he was okay. He had a goal in that one. He had another chance where he had the corner. He couldn't quite tuck it in. But the deficiency of Nylander at center was also on full display there. There was a play that resulted in a pretty good chance the other way because there was 2 guys deep. He jumped in, play went the other way, and he was pretty darn lazy getting back on defense on that one, and it resulted in a pretty good chance.
Yeah, and the only thing I'll say, listen, that is a good point of like the ebb and flow of Nylander at center. But the only thing I'd say is if he was a winger and if he was in that position, he would do the exact same thing. And so it's like,
but when you're playing the wing, you're
not going to be in those positions as often. I get what you're trying to say.
As often, right? Yes,
exactly.
Correct.
Yeah,
but
go ahead. Sorry. Okay, no. So I was just going to say, defense, like that stuff though, the positives, I'm trying to be like overly positive about this because I want it to work, and I've always wanted it to work. It's going to be all on Nylander if this works, right? Because it's not like he's lacking skill to play defense. It's all effort. It's like, and I'm not calling him lazy by saying that. It's true. Like playing
and a
in the
willingness to
defensive
block
zone,
shots. He didn't block any shots.
you don't have to. You don't even have to. No, you don't exactly. You don't have to block. You don't have to block shots though. But it's just like
if it's your assignment and he gets the puck and you have the opportunity to, I think you should block that shot. I think you should get in the way.
As a goalie, though, I feel like you'd rather them just.
I'd rather the puck go through, correct? But if you're challenging the point hard, like maybe that shot doesn't go through and it goes the other way, right?
That's true. There's edge cases for it, but yeah, again, the just a small positive, like if it's gonna work, it's gonna be the effort, and that's the bottom line, I think.
Mm-hmm. So the other thing that someone brought up, it was recurring guest Sam Cosentino brought this up to me. He didn't say it on air, but he brought this up when I asked him. Who is playing third line center in the NHL right now that is a better player than William Nylander, that is more talented than William Nylander?
No one really.
So if you can get those matchups, do you think that could work then?
Absolutely. I think there's a way where that works. I agree.
And then the issue then becomes, well, what if he's more so playing second line center? Tavares is your third line center, so now you're kind of stuck in between, and it's like could be awkward matching up.
It's going to be interesting to see the utilization throughout the season. And this is going to be the biggest story for the first 10 games. I don't think we're going to get any answers in preseason, though, just because of the level of play. There will be no answers for what this line will look like, or not what this line will look like, but how it will perform at like NHL speed.
Yeah.
So I think this is by far the biggest story, like game 1 to game 10. It will be. It will for sure. So, yeah. Any other guys you noticed, like Noah Gregor, who's on a PTO? You think he's like gonna maybe earn a spot? Did Dylan Gambrell play in the either game?
He had a good screen on the Will Lagesson goal, I believe it was. He had a good screen on that one. Outside of that, I didn't notice him.
Okay, that's yeah. If you're not noticing them, then I feel like those are like
Pontus Holmberg. I noticed more than him, but I mean Pontus Holmberg overall didn't do that much. Hirvonen was okay. I thought he had a couple good chances here and there. I thought he played decently, especially for his first NHL preseason game. And then Topi Niemela had a horrible giveaway on the first goal in the second game. He had a nice assist in that game, though, so kind of made up for it ish. Blandisi, this is not a guy that's going to be in the charging for anything. I thought Blandisi, outside of the penalty he took late, which was not an opportune penalty at all, I thought he played pretty well. He had a goal in that one. He was all around the puck. He was causing turnovers here and there. I thought it was nice to see, even though I don't think he's a legitimate. He has no shot in hell at the roster, I'd say. So
yeah,
whatever.
Fair enough. Well, I mean, let's just get into the biggest story of. It feels like the preseason right now for the Maple Leafs. That's what everyone kind of wants to talk about is Easton Cowan and his play. You're going to be able to speak to this a lot better than I will be for sure. But I mean, he's done enough in the last game that he earned. I don't want to say earned, maybe earned a spot with the A team, right? So they split up the groups.
He earned he earned a trip to St. Thomas, which is where the game's being played tomorrow. So, at Joe Thornton Arena.
That is crazy. That is funny. I love that. But yeah, he's obviously impressed enough to be with the A group, which is basically built out of all NHLers. And there's a couple guys in the B group that could have probably been there in his place. And I think the biggest thing for me is we talked about this in that group chat is that this is like a shift in development and shift in philosophy. Because I don't think we would have seen this one game where a guy gets rewarded from the preseason. I don't think we would have seen this last year, or we haven't really seen it last year, right? Like maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm gaslighting myself, but what are your thoughts on the play from Easton Cowan in general?
I hate to do it. It's fresh in my head, so I have to mention it. There were 3 turnovers at the opposing team's blue line, I want to say. So trying to do a little bit too much there. But outside of that, I thought he was terrific. Just looking through, like, just thinking back onto the good plays that he had. He did a great job. He does a great job of using body position. He's not a big boy at all. Is he 150, 160 maybe, even on a good day,
That's
whatever.
generous. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, if he's got his signing bonus in his pocket, maybe he's 160. Signing bonus in his pocket in nickels, maybe he's 170. I'm not too sure, but he does a good job. He understands that he needs to get like good body position on a player in order to create a play there, in order to get the puck. So I like his attacking of the opposing team's hands when they have the puck in order to be able to strip it. That's how you're going to get it when you're a smaller guy. I sometimes see too many guys when they're trying to throw the body, or they're pressuring the cut puck carrier. They're trying to get the big shoulders up, and they're trying to hit them as hard as they can. It's not going to be effective if you're small, and sometimes it's not even effective if you're big. Um, so I like the way that he attacks the hands on that. He was showing some pretty good speed as well. Like he was able to create a breakaway, and he was able to shield off the defender using his speed on that, and that's
Mhm.
how he was able to draw the penalty shot. Speed was kind of used on the way that he drew the penalty late in the game, that they tied the game off of that power play as well. Um, the confidence with the puck as well, just getting to the right spots too. I like how he doesn't rush getting to the right spots or getting to the front of the net. He kind of takes his time in order to find those soft spots. Saw a little bit of that on his first goal there. And even on his assist, which was a tip on net, which went off of Blendy's shin pads and in. Uh, Lastly, I will say with him, he had a fantastic chance late. Like 18 years old. This kid was supposed to go in the third round, what, September, 6 months ago, right? He's out there for the Toronto Maple Leafs in his first preseason game with 30 seconds left. Klingberg feeds him the puck. He's got an open look. He's got a good look. What's he do? Loads it up, eyes on net, feeds a good no look down to, I think it was Matthews down low, who then fed it across for an even more spectacular chance there. It was so impressive to see that, just that level of poise on him. So I was extremely impressed with Easton Cowan. He had more than a few chances on top of 2 points as well. So it's a good box check, as we mentioned with prospects. You go to the prospects tournament. How do you play there? You play well. Okay, check. Now we're on to the preseason. You play well game one preseason. Check. Let's see how you do next preseason game. We're not putting the cart before the horse. We're not saying, oh, will he make the team yet? Probably not. He's probably
Yeah.
ending up back in London. Uh, will he make Team Canada? I don't even know about that yet. What I'm looking for: St. Thomas, Wednesday, Buffalo Sabres. How does he play?
Yeah. And
They were very encouraging though.
I think that's massive as well. And is he signed to? He's not. They did sign him.
Signed.
Okay.
Yeah. He's signed.
So he is signed, but I think you're right. I think there's like almost zero. There's probably a 0% chance he plays more. There's probably a 1% chance he plays any NHL games this season. There's a
Yeah.
0% chance he plays more than 9.
So here's the thing with him as well. If he impresses so much to the point where you can't deny him a spot, like, okay, you let him play. Here's the thing that you can do. Same thing that happened with Shane Wright last year. You let him play 8 games or whatever. You send him
Mhm.
down on a conditioning stint. You don't try to extend it too long. Let him play 5 games down there, and then you evaluate from there. If he's playing past the 9 game mark, I don't want it to be a Kakanyemi situation. If he's
Mhm.
at game 20, 30, and it's like, uh-oh, starting to struggle, starting to get scratched, minutes being reduced. Just who cares if you've burned the first year of the entry level deal? Send him back.
Yeah.
It's not worth it to hold on to him and try to make something out of nothing. Send him
Yeah.
back, get him that ice time, get the confidence back up. But that's way down the line.
Oh yeah.
He's got to still play well. St. Thomas Wednesday.
Yeah. St. Thomas Wednesday. Just thinking about that Kotkaniemi situation. Just speaking it out loud right here. I think you're right. I don't think they're
Yeah.
even gonna. They're not gonna sniff. He might not sniff
No.
the roster. I think they're just mostly doing this because he's played well,
Yeah.
and it's almost like a reward system where, like, listen, if you're gonna play well, you're gonna get rewarded, and then on top of that, just the experience of being with like the actual team is just good for him in his
Yeah.
development. there. So,
well, speaking of the young guys, the one guy that I missed that I wasn't too high on last year, I don't think he did much last year to impress me. Fraser Minton, because all of his production last year was on the power play, and he played on an awesome team. So it was like, who cares? Like, well, congratulations, you're 100th in the league in the WHL in points per game. Like, you were a second round pick. That first Ottawa game, he impressed me. He won more than a few puck battles on his own. He was much more noticeable. He was much more noticeable in the prospects tournament too. So that was a nice little step forward there to see from that. I was like, okay, all right. Cost more than a few turnovers, which was really nice to see. So that was Fraser Minton. But back to
I'm
Cowan.
happy you brought that up though. Like
Okay.
I think we said all there is to say about Cowan, but I just want to touch on Minton for a second. In this second group that he's in, in like let's call it the Marlies group, he's like listed as the first line center. So maybe he's brought over this year, and he's done in junior, and he's going to play for the Marlies this year because
No, he's not.
No,
he's going back to junior.
Sure?
He's going to be in contention for Team Canada.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize that.
He's too young, and he wouldn't be ready. I wouldn't.
Okay, all right, fair enough. Well, maybe it's a later in the season kind of thing.
He's playing better than last year. I'll tell you that for free. Last year he was a ghost.
Sounded like he was also, from what people were saying on Twitter, is that he was also looked good in the prospect tournament, right? Or
I think he was okay. Yeah.
So, all right. Well, that was I mean, I don't know if there's much more to say about Easton Cowan. I can't really say much. I think it's good that we're rewarding guys though.
Yeah.
For a good play, especially young guys, because. Yeah.
And I said all this great stuff about him. Like, my expectation in 3-4 years, we'll say, is like what Connor Brown brought to the Leafs early on. Like, hopefully score some goals, play third line, that sort of thing. Bring some energy, bring some speed. Like, it's not get like crazy. Oh, if we were to redo the 2023 NHL draft today, it would go Easton Cowan and then Connor Bedard. Like, no. He's playing way above where he should be. Yeah. That's what I'm saying, and that's why I'm like, oh God. So
yeah, fair enough here.
He's the cowboy.
He's the cowboy. Good for him. Deserves it. So moving on from there, we got John Klingberg and his PP1. I don't want to say status, but it looks like he's going to be the guy on the PP1. But before we get into that, I want to give a quick shout out to our sponsors over at DraftKings. We're back with another week of football, and DraftKings Sportsbook is keeping us in on the NFL action with great offers. Every single game, new customers can bet $5 and get $200 instantly in bonus bets. Throw $5 down on any of this week's matchups and walk away an instant winner. I mean, I play at DraftKings, so I can say nice things about it. I would recommend playing there. DraftKings is also not stopping there. All customers take advantage of 2 new offers every game day this September. They've been offering some very generous boosts. I recommend you using those boosts because they're always plus expected value. Football is more fun when you're in on the action. So download the app now and sign up with code THPN. New customers can bet just $5 to get $200 down instantly in bonus bets, only on DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL, with code THPN. That is code THPN. The crown is yours. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.1800gambler.net. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NEW YORK or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort, licensed partner Golden Nugget Lake Charles, 21 plus, age varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. See sportsbook.draftkings.com/football terms for eligibility, terms, and responsible gambling resources. Bonus bets expires 7 days after issuances. Eligibility and deposit restrictions apply. And if you have any questions regarding gambling, please feel free to reach out into the DMs, and always bet responsibly. Never bet with only bet with what you're willing to lose, not with what you kind of need. So yes, always bet responsibly. So moving on from there, John Klingberg, PP1. What did you see? What are your thoughts?
So with PP1 in that second game, there was no Nylander on that one and no Tavares. So it was John Klingberg, Austin Matthews, Mitch Marner, Tyler Bertuzzi, and Nick Robertson. They had more than a few chances. I mean, hey, Klingberg got the assist on the game tying goal there when Mitch Marner got the rebound on it. He was able to get the shot through. I really, really liked it. I still think they're going way too obvious on the slingshot there. I know they're trying to give it a different look too, but it's just so obvious that they're getting to center and it's like, whoop. Like Klingberg's a good enough player; he could just skate it in himself and potentially get a chance off that. Throw you a little curveball there, but I love the movement he was able to provide, the shot threat that he was able to provide as well on that one. Like he's got a way better shot than Riley does, but mainly it was the movement and the passing from him on PP1 there. His overall game, I will say, like the turnovers were there, as it's no secret. I've been saying it all summer. He turns the puck over. He is weak too, but he can pass. He can pass the puck. He can snap the puck around, and he can really skate. So,
and that's an important. Yeah, like that's an important thing though. Like people scoff at like the idea of, oh, he can pass. Like, well, that's actually really important, and also his ability to create lanes for himself, to create passes for and drawing guys in is an important skill to have. And I think it's going to be beneficial to keep him on PP1 as long as possible. I mean, listen, we were back and forth with Riley throughout his tenure here on the power play. I mean, Zaitsev played power play minutes. Tyson Barrie played on the power play. Rasmus Sandin was on and off the power play. Mark Giordano in the playoffs played on PP1 for us at one point. Not last year, 2 years ago?
Not this past playoffs, but the playoffs before.
Yeah, 2 years ago, right? So,
and they scored.
Obviously, they're not. Riley back on. They don't like, not that they don't like Riley on PP1, but there's more to be desired. I'll say that with the power play one.
He's a big passenger on PP1. It's just get the puck to the other guys because he's not. I don't know what's he going to do. He doesn't have much of a shot threat. So
and I think it will also just benefit him in general if he's just playing those 5-on-5 minutes. Listen,
he's a good offensive 5-on-5 player. He can skate like no other.
Yeah, and if he plays like he did in the power play,
he can skate well. Sorry.
Yeah, and if he played like he did, in the playoffs, we should be fine. But I mean, we talked about this when he signed his contract. It's like if he's not PP1, 7-5 is a reach. But again, it's contract's done, contract signed. We can't. If he is playing
PP1, he's not that good at PP1.
I know, yeah, but
like in terms of power play defenseman in the NHL, where does he rank?
Not very good. Probably like in the bottom. I would say the bottom. Like if we're talking about 32 teams, it'd probably be in like 20 to 32 range of like.
Probably be interesting to line it up, kind of thing.
Yeah,
but I was thinking this with the Leafs D. Like before we were coming on here, I was thinking this. So they played Riley Liljegren together, which I thought was interesting, and then they did McCabe and Klingberg, and then Giordano.
Timmins?
With the Kokkonen. But Timmonen's played in the first game. I thought he was actually a standout. He played really well. I think he had a couple miscues in the first period that soured some people. And yeah, he did. He did have a couple miscues here and there. But offensively, I thought he was terrific. He had 2 assists in that game. He had a couple other chances set up. I thought he was moving pretty well out there. So it's good to see Connor Timmins, putting his stamp on that game. But with the Leafs D overall, so far they have, Brody didn't play. That's what shuffled everything. I was thinking this. So you have, I think the ideal, and it all hinges. This is, sorry, I'm trying to build it up well.
You got it.
But I don't think you know what you're getting with Klingberg. We know what we're getting with the rest of the D on that. The rest of the 5 guys. They all played last year. We all got a good, we've all seen some of them for hundreds of games. We know what we're getting with the rest of the team. That's where I wonder, and if the Leafs D is going to be good, I think a lot hinges on Liljegren's ability to play in the top 4. And his ability to play with Morgan Riley. Because if you're able to go Brody McCabe and eat a bunch of minutes there, I think that's a fantastic pairing. And that's an ideal. If you then have to split up like McCabe, you go McCabe Klingberg like they have it right now. Like Klingberg's not that like Klingberg's not he's too much of a wild card, I find, to be in your top four. Your best ideal is having him in the bottom pairing, able to maybe shelter him a little bit. I don't know, but reduce those 5-on-5 minutes. Have him with Giordano, who can be like just a steady guy out there. I think that'll be a lot more effective, and then he can play power play one on top of that. Like we've seen Logren in the past. We complained about it 2 years ago, his ability to play with Riley. I know that the expected goals was great. It was ugly because they were giving up some really, really, really good chances. Last year, though, it looked a little bit better, I will say. And then on, well, game one of the preseason, I don't count, but it did not look very good at all. I will say that. Like they did, I don't know, they didn't play that well, but I'm not taking too much stock into it. So if you're able to get like, I'm not saying Logren has to be a bona fide top four player, bona fide top four defenseman in the league, but if he can play, like, look what Luke Shen did with Morgan Riley last year and how it was so effective. Just make that smart little play in the defensive zone, be strong in front of the net, throw the body here and there, and it worked out. Like Luke Shen, that's a guy that was on waivers, what, 3 years ago?
Mm-hmm.
And his like why he worked so well with the Leafs was just making smart plays in the like smart little plays with the puck, not not turning it over very much, and that pairing was as a result fantastic. So maybe you're not getting to that level. Maybe you can. I don't see why not. But
Yeah, I don't.
that's
I
what
don't know.
I think. If Lilgren can take a step and he's able to play with Riley, you're really shaping up the decor very well.
Yeah, I
It
think
took a long time to say that, but that's my overall point. If Lilgren can step up, continue to develop, and he's able to play with Riley, and he's able to steady that pairing, you're looking at a pretty darn good decor, I would say.
Yeah,
Right?
I think the biggest thing though is that they're probably going to play all these guys. I don't want to say equal minutes, but like pretty similar to what we've seen in the past. And I feel
Yeah.
like we've upgraded on our decor from last year. Is that fair to say, right? Like, because the guy we lost is Justin Hall,
Yeah.
the guy we brought in is John Klingberg. So, um,
Yeah.
obviously more extreme,
Yeah.
but I mean, the upside of Klingberg massively outweighs what Justin Hall brought to the table, in all
Yeah. But
aspects.
the downside defensively,
I
and it
still think the upside
mass
plus the downside massively outweighs what Justin Hall brought to the
potentially,
table.
sure.
So,
Okay.
yeah, I think you're right on the mark here with the decor. Um, yeah. Any other thoughts on Klingberg just being on PP1? Any thoughts on the PP1 in general? One thing I noticed was that their crash. I don't know if this was just because it was like I think it was from game one with the great with like the Marlies players. I noticed them like crashing the net a little more. Might have just been like one or two plays. I don't know if
Um,
you noticed that as well,
maybe
or
the third period they definitely were getting to the net, I would say.
yeah. So
In terms of
I wonder if
differences, I don't know. It was a lot more choppy, so it was kind of hard to see.
fair.
I found that the Sens PK was really pressuring them, like along the boards. They were really putting a lot of pressure on the puck, so it was harder to set up, I would say. But once you have your five actual power play guys in there, it's going to be a lot easier to dismantle that, I would say. But Robertson got a fantastic chance. Like yeah, he had a really, really good chance in the first period on the power play. He flared out into the middle, got a good one timer off. So the power play definitely did get its chances. I will say this with Matthews, Marner, Bertuzzi, how they looked together as a trio. They missed so many good opportunities. It's just like Nylander. Nylander in the first game, he ended up with 0 points. Matthews, Marner. Matthews had 0 points as well in his first preseason game. Marner ended up with just one goal, right? I have two screenshots. I don't know how I can't show them right now, obviously, but they had the puck on their stick. Matthews had the puck on his stick with an open net, flubbed on the one timer because it was a quick play coming back across. Mitch Marner had the puck on his stick, half the net open, and he decided to hold it and then try to go backhand on Shogard, who Shogard played much better than what we saw last year. I will say that. That was unfortunate to see.
Well,
They
you
got a ton of
mentioned
chances. They're building the chemistry, I will say, and it's starting to get there.
okay, yeah, nice,
So it's
nice. So
good.
you mentioned Nick Robertson. And I want to talk about him as well. I want to talk about him and Matthew Knies. So, like, let's start off with
Okay.
Robertson though, because you mentioned him. How do you feel like he played? Like, he obviously got his power play time in there. I mean, he played like 17 minutes, got 6 shots.
Oh yeah, it was. Yeah, he definitely got a ton of shots. He ended up with 0 points in this one, I believe.
Yeah,
I
0
don't.
points. I
I
think he
don't
was
think.
playing with Kampf and no,
No, there was
sorry,
Camp,
sorry, home.
Reeves, and Gregor, and it was Holmberg and one other guy. I can't remember.
Was it
They had
Blendizi or Abertzizi? I don't know.
I can't remember. Anyways,
Anyways,
I mean, he looked the big things that I saw with him, like he's coming off of a major injury. How's he going to look, kind of thing. He looked very fast. He looked
that's
very comfortable
really
handling
good.
the puck. His shots still looked pretty darn good. I thought he got more than a few great chances. Um, in terms of it looked kind of the same as what last year was. So hopefully you can kind of build off of that. I didn't really see it. It looked like a Nick Robertson game from last year, kind of thing. So, which was good. He does. There were games last year where he was able to generate a ton of chances. I just felt he was very inconsistent last year in terms of his offensive generation. So we'll see if he can improve on that this year. But I thought it was solid. Like nothing
Nice.
more to say than that. Got his shots, got his chances. Looked exactly like Nick Robertson from last year.
I mean, when you have a major injury like that, and it was a knee injury, correct? Am I
Leg, he like snapped his leg or
like,
something.
yeah.
It
So
was ugly.
when you like anytime you're back and you're at game speed, that's like a positive sign. I mean, I wish we had like a pro football doc for hockey Twitter.
What do you mean?
To like just to like tell us about the injury of like if he's progressing well or like stuff like that. But like in my like just equating it to football, if a guy looks like he's game speed, that means he's basically like almost 100% recovered, right? So especially from a major leg injury. So I
We
guess
got
that's
injured like February or like not February, even earlier last year. He only played like 17 total games. So
but some of these injuries like take like legit like almost a year plus
okay,
to like
that's true.
fully 100% recover from, right? So
Yeah, that's true. Okay.
um
I think he's fully recovered. I thought he looked pretty good. He had his chances, and I wouldn't be surprised if he pots one next game.
yeah,
Right?
that makes sense. And then yeah, next guy I want to talk about then is Matthew Knies. So
Matthew Knies looks
how
big.
how has
He
he
looks
looked?
strong. He looks good. I'll say that. He looks pretty good. He like the amount of puck battles that he was winning was really really nice to see. Just pretty much just building off of what he provided in the playoffs last year, what he provided in the end of the regular season last year. I thought he was solid in game one. I thought he had more, like quite a few good chances, drew a penalty in that game as well. I think he had one assist where it was a puck battle. Sam Lafferty was involved in it too. He was able to get the dig, gets the puck to the point, and then they were able to quickly move the puck from there, cause some chaos, and it's in the back of the net. So the one thing that really, really stood out though was his ability to shield the puck, his stick handling ability, and his ability to get the puck and like win puck battles. I thought that was really encouraging to see, and that's going to allow him to be versatile throughout the lineup.
Fair enough. And how did he look on the like? Do you think the line of him with he was playing with Nylander and
No,
what?
it was Abruzzese, or sorry, Steves, Domi, Nylander, and then he was on a different line. I'll have to look it up though.
And then he
David
was
Alter
it.
definitely has it. I can't remember
Oh,
it though.
I'm dropping the ball here. I don't know what lineup
That's okay.
thing
Doesn't
I'm looking
matter.
at here. That's just
He
brutal.
looked good.
Okay,
I
that's
think that's
I thought he was playing with Nylander. That's why. So I guess whoever wrote this on Twitter is a liar. So yeah. I mean, hey, I'm happy. It sounds like he didn't miss a step from the playoffs. And I mean, like it wasn't just an NHL player in the playoffs. He was like a legit top 9, potential top 6 player. And it's exciting because going into this year, we are going to have, it feels like a lot more let's call it like top 6 talent on this roster.
Mhm.
When in previous years it felt like it hasn't been there. And like I mentioned before, it's always good. It feels good when a homegrown guy, even though he like barely was in our system, it's like what, year 2 or 3 in our
Mhm.
system now. Year 3 in our system. Like feels good when a homegrown guy, even though he didn't even like didn't play for the Marlies, played all his time in like in college, right? It just feels good that a guy we drafted is coming up and playing for us. It's always a good feeling to have. So I'm
Yeah.
happy with Matthew Knies. Anything else you want to touch on with these
He
rookies?
was playing with Lafferty and someone else. I can't remember who the other guy is though.
Was it? It wasn't Steve's. It wasn't
No, this is bugging me.
Pervinen or Gambrell or Shaw or
I have the
Minton.
screenshot. I don't know why I didn't save it.
It's all good. It's all good. Let's move on from there then. If you can find it, let me know. If not,
He's been practicing with. It's been Knies, Tavares, Lafferty in practices.
okay.
So that's good to know. But
Okay.
what the hell? Why can't I find this? This is just right when you actually need things, they just disappear. Abertsazy, Holmberg, Robert. No, that's not it either. Oh my god. I'm just gonna throw my phone away. Fuck this.
It's all good.
Here it
It's all
is.
good. It's all good.
Nice
So
played with Lafferty, I believe.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, he
yeah.
did.
That's again. I thought he was playing with United. That's why I brought it up.
He
But
might have been playing with Gambrell as well.
I got fake news.
I
It's
can't
all good.
remember. Who cares?
So moving on from there, Calle Jarnkrook has been absent or was
Yes.
just absent from practice. Has not
He
played a
has
single
played both
preseason.
games.
Has not played a preseason game yet. Is not scheduled to play the next game. And if we take a peek over at the Leafs' current roster right now, they have 13 forwards, 7 defensemen, and 3 goalies. So they are currently maxed out with 23 contracts, or sorry, 23 players on their active roster right now. And they're 2.943 million over the cap. Now, why I bring up that number? Because Calle Jarnkrook makes $2.1 million.
Yes.
So like they're gonna have to shed one guy who's making close to or around league minimum. And if they do that, they're probably gonna have to shed another guy who makes 2.1 mil.
Okay.
Or around that 2 million. They're gonna have to shed a guy around that $2 million range, unless they just cut a bunch of guys that we don't expect. Like Connor Timmins could be a guy that potentially be that guy. But I mean, right now, the way it's looking, it's either Calle Jarnkrook is getting the boot, or Calle Jarnkrook might just hit LTIR to start the season if he's like not playing any of these games. And like, are we like seeing like this is crazy, but like is this like a Robidaw Island situation where like are we just gonna make Calle Jarnkrook go? He can still play, so it's like not the same at all. But like
Yeah.
I'm just so confused because there's no information about this injury. It's like if you look it up, it says undisclosed, and it's like he hasn't been around the team. So like what is going on here? Like one thing
It
to
got to
note,
the point where it was like, where is Calle Jarnkrook? And then all of a sudden Leafs PR slid in. Oh, he's
hurt.
dealing with something. Oh, he's hurt.
It's undisclosed. He's hurt. Like one thing to note, he does have a modified no trade clause. So we can there's 22 teams that we can trade into, 10-team no trade list. I mean, I can't even begin to fathom what a trade would look like surrounding Calle Jarnkrook. I have no idea what it would be. Would we have to pay to get rid of him because he has 3 years? Like he's also 32, mind you. Listen, I think he's still good. I don't think he should be playing in our top 6, but I still would keep him as a third line center. But again, this is just a story that I feel like not many people are bringing up when they talk about Calle Jarnkrook. Yes, he's been absent. Yes, he's hurt. But what's going to happen with the roster situation? And I feel like this is like a red neon sign saying like, hey, look at me. Like this is probably what's going to happen. Maybe I'm way off the mark here, but I don't know. What are your thoughts?
So in terms of the roster, if you send down Martin Jones and you go to 12-6 and you have Calle Jarnkrook in there, does that make the numbers work?
I'm gonna have to quickly filibuster here, but why? So you think
That's what I think. That's what I would think would happen. They're not going to carry 3 goaltenders. I don't think. They're ideally going to try to slide one through waivers.
Yeah. So they would probably let's slide Martin Jones down through waivers.
Yeah.
Right. And then that leaves us with 22 contracts, right? So we would have 13 forwards, 7 defensemen, and 2 goalies. We'll probably, I mean, we've kind of majority of this time we've had we've had 7 defensemen, and I feel like just with the way our defensemen are, and with Mark Giordano, we brought this up before, it makes sense to kind of keep 7 defensemen around here.
Okay.
One thing to note as well, Nick Robertson was on IR, so his money was actually counted towards the cap. So without Nick Robertson on IR, and assuming let's call Pontus Holmberg the guy who gets sent down. So right now we're at 13 forwards, 7 defensemen, 2 goalies. We're actually only 1.2 mil over the cap. So I was completely wrong. So they can actually send down 3 guys, roll 12 and 6, and 2 goalies. They'll be completely fine. But if they don't want to do that, and if they want to keep Martin Jones on their roster, they can. I'm pretty sure they can get rid of, not get rid of, but like move Calle Jarnkrook, who makes 2.1, and they'd be almost exactly cap compliant.
So you'd have to still. Oh,
So
but in your scenario, you have Martin Jones.
So you're still carrying 22 guys, right? And maybe there's like some finagling with the numbers on who the guy up is and who the guy down is, right? Like maybe it wouldn't be a, I don't know. Maybe Martin Jones does get sent down, who makes 875, right? Because I think we'd be around 100K short. So maybe we need a guy who makes 700K instead of a Martin Jones. So maybe it's Noah Gregor who gets signed to a league min deal, and he's the 13th forward with not Mark Giordano, but like Mark Giordano / Connor Timmins is a 6 and 7 defenseman. We roll 2 goalies, then it would be cap compliant. But just I don't know how the number is going to work. That's not my job.
Yeah.
But I just want to talk about it and bring it up because I think it's important to.
Don't be surprised if he's moved, kind of thing. It does kind of like it is weird. This guy did hit 20 goals last year, but like
someone has to get moved here.
Someone has to get moved.
I don't see Connor Timmins just being put on waivers, and that's that. I don't think we have enough depth. You can tell me if I'm wrong.
Who would you rather keep, Connor Timmins or Calle Jarnkrook?
Well, my idea of keeping Timmins over Jarnkrook would be the guys who we have who could replace Jarnkrook. I'd rather see them get action than the guys that we have who would replace Timmins. Does that make sense? Because Jarnkrook would play in our lineup, right? Now, mind you, if it's going to be Dylan Gambrell and Noah Gregor going into those spots, no, I don't want to do that. But if that means that Nick Robertson starts the year with the team and he gets top 9 minutes, I am 100% pro on moving Calle Jarnkrook over Connor Timmins.
Yeah, and my only thing for moving Calle Jarnkrook was when you look at his splits between when he played, his stats when he played in the bottom 6 versus the top 6. He had like 5 points in his first 30 games playing third line. Now, albeit he was playing with Pierre Engvall a ton, and Engvall started the season horrifically. I wanted to send this guy not to the AHL, to the moon, because he was playing so bad. And then he picked it back up and was Pierre Engvall again. But Calle Jarnkrook only really produced when he was in the top 6, when he was playing with Matthews, when someone was getting him the puck, and we saw his shot on display. So was the rest of his game really that great? I don't know. It was okay. He had some pretty high-end games here and there, but maybe they view it as, okay, we have our top 6 filled. This guy's going to be playing in the bottom 6. He's 32. He's got 3 years left. Is he really going to produce even to a $2.1 million level? I don't know. I would think so, and I would like to keep him. I'm going to be on the record saying that I would like to keep Calle Jarnkrook. I think, but I don't know how much the Leafs hold importance to keeping those 3 goalies up together.
Yeah, fair.
Or maybe having to hold the 3 goalies together and then like use Martin Jones on waivers later when other teams have kind of claimed people off of waivers and then try to sneak them through later. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get what you're saying here, and I get that. And I think it's fair to say that you want Calle Jarnkrook. I don't think I don't want Calle Jarnkrook on the team, but if the opportunity cost of keeping Calle Jarnkrook is not getting Nick Robertson minutes, I don't want that. I want
That's
Nick
an
Robertson
interesting
to get
take.
minutes.
Yeah,
because
I see it.
Maybe people like think I'm crazy for saying this because, hey, like, oh, what happens if Nick Robertson doesn't work? Guess what? Nick Robertson costs $1.4 million less than Calle Jarnkrook. You just go out and acquire a guy. Go out and acquire someone. Like if assuming we move Calle Jarnkrook, we'll probably get some form of an asset back. You can move if Nick Robertson's not working 20, 30, 40 games into the season. You can go make a trade, get a guy come in who could be better than him. And on top of that, Bobby McMahon, right? Like that's a guy who, if maybe Nick Robertson isn't playing well, he can come in and step in and supplement that loss for the time being, not a playoff solution. I think this allows you flexibility through the season to make your team better. If Calle Jarnkrook makes it really hard if he's in your top 6 to help improve this team, right? Because the only guy who would get cut would be either a Ryan Reeves or whoever's playing on that 4th line, I guess, right?
Yeah.
And then, again, it makes it even more complicated because Calle Jarnkrook has that no trade clause. So if you want to swap Calle Jarnkrook and get a guy who is of equal value to Calle Jarnkrook but is better player, I mean, what if he doesn't want to go to that team? Then it's like another hurdle to go over, right?
Yeah.
So whereas
I definitely see what you mean, but the issue then also becomes like Jarnkrook had 20 last year. He's making $2.1 million.
That's fair.
2.1 doesn't get you very much this year.
That's very fair.
2.1 can't even get you a third pairing defenseman anymore.
Yeah. And no disrespect to Max Domi, but Max Domi is making 3. So
3.
I mean, Max Domi, I think, is still a better player than Calle Jarnkrook, but like, I mean, we didn't get him for term. We didn't get it's a 1-year deal. So
1 year,
yeah.
So that 2.1 cap hit, like if you're gonna go and get someone equal cap hit for 2.1, like
Yeah.
Who's
I'm just worried about that ledge for Calle Jarnkrook because, again, 3 years. It's going to be 32 this year, next year, 33, 34. He's like, listen, I don't think he has.
It's coming.
I mean, I think his game can age well because he does have a good shot. But I think like the other stuff that he's good at other than shooting, like his two-way ability is going to it could easily hit a massive cliff like this year or next year just based on age. Again, all you have to do is lose that, not even like quarter of a second of a step, and you lose that ability and your game, you're behind in the NHL, you're cooked, you're done.
Yeah,
that's just the way it is. So I mean, I think that's enough Jarnkrook talk here. I think that's it for the docket too, but any last thoughts on the situation? I feel like we said our piece, and I think it's just something. Listen, maybe I'm wearing my tinfoil hat. I think it's something we have to keep an eye on, though.
I agree. Yeah. So we got a game Wednesday. One of the other preseason games. I should know this. I'm so focused on Wednesday. That's all I have.
Because the Wednesday game is supposed to have a couple good players in there, right? Like we got some good bodies.
Wednesday, Friday, and then Saturday as well. And then Sunday they're off, and then Monday. So
it's the next couple of games are September 29th, September 30th, October 2nd. Then we have October 5th and October 7th, but we'll be with you before those 2 Red Wing games on October 5th and October 7th. Then after that, October 11th, first game of the season. It is as close as can be. We're like, 2 weeks away? Beyond excited. I'm excited. So
it's coming up. Oh, baby.
And
yeah.
I mean,
so we'll get into more preseason, see how things are unfolding, who's looking to play where. We haven't seen John Tavares yet in a preseason game. So, yeah.
He's supposed to play tomorrow, correct?
He's on the roster for tomorrow. So
it's the rosters tomorrow is interesting. It's like John and a couple like Marley's guys on forward, but then like basically all of our defensemen other than TJ Brody are playing as well, which is like going to be fun to watch.
The average height of our goaltenders on this roster is 6'6". I kid you not, the average height. The shortest goalie listed on this roster is Martin Jones at 6'5". But yeah, some names that are on this one: Kyle Clifford, Easton Cowan, Max Domi, Max Ellis, who's whatever, Noah Gregor, Ronnie Hirvonen, Pontus Holmberg, Knies, Lafferty, Robertson, Minton, Steves, Tavares. And then on D, you've got a few regulars on here. But yeah.
It's all the regulars other than Brody, I think, no?
Klingberg, Lagesson, Lajoie, Logren, McCabe, Petronero, Timmins.
4 or 6. No Gio, eh? All right. Doesn't need to log. He doesn't need to log any preseason games. Give him a rest.
Yeah, no. Exactly. So that's all I have. Let's actually check the notebook. I
Yeah.
wanted to make sure because I don't want to log off and then be like, damn it, I didn't talk about this absolutely nothing play. That was about it. Yeah,
Awesome. Sounds good.
good on my end.
Good on my
So,
end too. We'll be back with you guys next week.
yeah, a few more preseason games to talk about. A few more roster decisions to talk about. We'll see where this Calle Jarnkrook thing goes, and if Easton Cowan and Matthew Knies can continue to impress us. So, thanks everyone for listening.
Go Leafs, go.